Ifambule, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, because some of now we can call na morning time to na. So I hope saying this also on offending myself na the world. I hope so na they do well. I hope so na they enjoy the Olympic games like me. Like, for me, Olympics means everything water sports. I am there, I'm glued, I'm shouting, I'm screaming. Anyways, it's been a beautiful, despite the lack of audience, lack of spectatorship and whatnot, for me, it's been a beautiful Olympics so far. Anyways, a lot of different nations and they come up, I know say now they can say boo Matilda, some people, a lot of different countries and they come and, then they really, wash America seriously right now. Whip them for some competition. Seriously right now, including Canada, Canada don't whip them for some serious competition then. But anyways, listen, I hope you love watching, sports like I do, the Commonwealth Olympics, they come and all of that, and different sports events, then they come. Well, listen, we're there, so today we can't talk about different issues there, we don't make headline as Salone, from the coronavirus to the abolition of the death penalty, to the Olympics, the saga we don't go on at the Olympics, and as well to the the Global Education Summit will take place in London. Today, not only one green Sidon Ayaso, today now with three Sidon Ayaso. I get lawyer Ibrahim Sorikoma with me. Tell Fambul they are doing.
First of all, thank you very much for having me, Fambul Unaudu.
Indeed. And then I get the one we don't lost power and I can feel to say they hide forever. But you sit down I ask today. See you tell family I do.
Family I do.
Indeed. Okay, make we not waste much time. So we notice say right after this other strain where they call the Delta variant. Begin burst na door, and we notice it for a good month or even two. It really whap in there seriously. And then we've been see that statement to have been pulled away, the head of NACOVAC, Solomon Jamil, been come na door and talk say, then can confirm now say that variant they Salone. And I can talk strongly to people them how they for take care of themselves and how they not for joke with this variant here so. But what happened from that announcement day to side with this so right now, and that make I bring this topic come back. Immediately we begin see some COVID numbers them inside Salone. I mean, and we see some die them like people every day na be RIP, so 10, 20 RIP now they see first na Facebook. To the point where me honestly I've been become a little bit jaded, a little bit depressed. I'm like I need for come first na Facebook. This RIP also a little bit too much for me. It don't pass me threshold of tolerance, right? So the numbers them just the boku no more, just the boku, the test, the case system. And then to the point where it lead to a red belt, a red alert. The UK now say that, then they put Salone under the red alert, women for say, and say too many people and when they come on a Salone, they test positive for the coronavirus, even though they can say they clear from Salone. So because of that, then they put Sierra Leone on the code red, where no country no one for go under code red, honestly, because when you go under code red, the stringent measures that they apply and whatnot, and then we can see this massive quarantine and massive money where people then go get for end up for pay and this that. There's some people and they talk say it's not for that we go pass in a Guinea first, but that is not the solution. The moment where England put we under red belt, it wasn't even a week. All of a sudden, the number then disappear. So what happened to those numbers? If those numbers were real that were being posted, because COVID not to tell you they get am today, tomorrow within 24 hours you don declare negative, you don free of am. We all know that it takes at least a good 14 days, sometimes for some people even more, for make e clear na dem system. So what happened to those numbers? How the number then they so quickly disappear following, the restriction of the UK? Now then there one make we can talk, but right now it's like our officials serious? Are they playing games with the health of people? Are they inflating numbers hoping to get international donation? Like, what was the strategy here? CEO, I go make you go first for Dandy.
Thank you very much, Matilda. You see, some things in the way no need for put politics into. The reason why make this case here worse in America concerning to Canada, now similar things as what we talk so. The thing that happened in America when doing Trump in time, then turn it into politics. Then try for play with we for play with and play with the numbers, then play with the truth, and eventually look what happened in America. Now similar thing. Mr. Jamie will know what he do. Even the quarantine system, it's about telling the quarantine people and where they have been getting the first wave and say, go take people and go put them in a house, go give them one bottle per mine or one bottle oil and beans and come they get money in there for the donation. The thing is that if from then some 10 work inside and chair, we not they talk because we hate the country. We not they talk because we hate government to in power. We talk because we anticipate stuff say get for happen. We know we people in our country. Now make we can see before and say no thing. People know for talk about now we they can be the bad couple we talk about and for make something good for the country. We don't see anything they come from far. They number then they play with them because they will say we all know from day one. Whether you like what we say or not, we're not there for please anybody. We're there for talk the truth. If we say what's wrong, let God will handle it. But we not say the truth we they say. They number them then they play around with them because of donation. We all may know that. We all know say they don't even know the amount of number of people that get corona in the country. We all know say even the testing, if it comes even to the football team, we know what may happen where they may cancel the game for us, even to Guinea. Some of them things here, nobody, even the people in the country. Now because of the half game here, when they play, when even believe the corona in Sierra Leone. 1 minute, minister will come and talk, say, "Hello, wear mask." Inside the same hour, the minister in a street will see body and they no wear mask. Then they play around. But this mixed messages don't cause people of America not even believe the thing. So at 1 minute now, the baby when I go take vaccine, another minute then they talk say, well, if we not believe in the virus, why we take this vaccine? How we believe in this vaccine? Eventually, we're putting again for happen just because of trust and be done the one only before. Where then they give so many mixed messages. 1 minute then say then trust it, another minute behavior. They show say they not get no faith to that thing they did, or they not get respect for the team. So until we people now when they before, when they control this, come and behave the right way for behave. This is not a go away. And as I mean, say I don't really listen to plenty video there. And they said that the medical field has said it happen. This Delta variant is different. How it fast for spread, now say go fast for kill. Plenty young people in die
And then he also get his sister or his brother. Me no know the Delta plus. So there is Delta and there is Delta plus.
Because the thing they change now, till they mutate, they change every day. Now the problem is making the free and the big people that made them go take the vaccine. Now the problem is right inside America, some states they even give money now for letting them go take vaccine. In fact, we on job, like me on job as of last week. Then the CEO don't come out and say then give people in 3 weeks. If you not get fully vaccinated, if you don't come to the hospital, you then get for let you go. You cannot reach a certain point now where they don't go beyond your rights now. This now they don't take her now to the different level now. So this is not your rights anymore. As long as they're a private company now, then they impose her now on you, say if you take her, you left the job. So another point now you don't reach. And Sierra Leone, we really know what stay spread because the one where they get money, then country where they always at we on rescue. Then they struggle for fight this year. What's how we get for them? The UK where they go where they talk about so UK give more number past week, but then they can put condition on we so now. Because they know some people no. You go be say plenty people don't come on as Salone, where they don't clear, they not get any go now UK and find out say the number different. They say the negative na Sierra Leone, but then go which so they don't say maybe they can positive. So white man not fool. Well, let them put a certain category. They don't find out say something that we know right, which will number them, which we testing. And I think so we need to come back and stay away from politics because some people talk no more now if it's in a party hate, which who cares about that? This is not life we talk about. We parents did it, we family them did it. If we not stand for the truth, we will bury them all. And we don't want to bury them. So the point is, Lord, we stand for the truth now. Make we do something about them now. Let me go back and talk about politics and talk about what we know so we need for do for make sure say we fight this year now. If not, make us sorry for we.
Indeed, make we fight this thing so now. And I know for say that there is this debate about people's rights, rights to privacy, rights to the ownership of your body, rights to exercise this. But in those rights, what some people can forget is that within those rights, the governments, the even the constitution of them different countries, then they make allowances that when it comes to the threat of lives. When it comes to the threat of lives, when it comes to the, a dangerous situation, an imminent danger, the government gets the right for impose certain things them. So yes, in as well as people and they within their rights, religious practice, beliefs and whatnot, make we also not forget, say, inside that same constitutions, they will give you that right. That same constitution, they also give the government right for enact or for pass certain measures them way water don't pass flower. I be what you get for say the first lady, of course, where this happened, Mama Crook, it been Canada doing crook. They talk say how, when President Vio been talk say, for put people in quarantine and for make people and pay people and kind holla and make noise. But now not to the white master, not to the master and the white master don't levy sanction on Panden. So make them talk now. Where when are we with the talk other thing, but when are the white man we agree. But the thing is that, do we have the data to prove what we were saying? You can levy sanction and levy quarantine on people where you not get the right equipment, you not get the right facility, you not get waiting and call for levy certain sanctions on people. We don't see how then they give certificates to people and not even spell the people their name right. Waiting rights now the people and passports, not only now the certificates where then they give them. So when you have all of these types of incompetencies going on, how do you justify your action? Oh, I think say Ibrahim faced a little bit there. I don't know what thing they go on. Okay, so in system don't freeze a little bit. So anyways, we go continue on and wait until it come back on. We'll continue with waiting we get for say. So anyways, I if that question they back to you, because now one of the justification then the way Iran can for me, as a matter of fact, when we don't say that it be for good for me they not be allowed to enter inside England. They don't allow her enter inside England until he do the compulsory quarantine where they ask. But anyways, I left unto you. What do you get for say?
No, when you come to the internet, you say when you come to the with family, not can put too much because it look like this is all about pleasing the white man. And the same white man back where you say we continue in your head, but they allow the specific people for coming. You see, so again, the white man is all about interest. We consider we talk about what we want. The white man where he wants you for waiting, he wants you for it. Okay. We not want you at that point, something wrong with you. Let we not dance, let we not go behind this. The colonial master is about interest. By the end of the day, Salome, the particular things that we take the white man as we own God. The white man is not going to respect it. Because you know what? Anytime we them beat the drum ready for dance. At the end of the day, they feed we are there for feed we so the feed no better. The truth is that we not good listen. Now we only that in us Africa not care about the people in the rule. The entire thing they do now for let them please the man overseas. Because now the money they come out. Whoa. So as long as you okay with that man, you're okay with the boss. You're not okay with not what they worry about. Because at the point at the end of the day, now how you talk to people now you can't. You as a mama. So message way they tell the people and then we will listen to you more. It just depends on how you put the message. Say, okay, listen, say I with respect, and also people will realize say you care about them. This I think Sadentia we lost small, we make something they lose faith. Not about say we not elect the first lady, they elect plenty people elect the first lady. It was on my hater. Something and the way they not say no, me supposed to put here and the way more for try am. They tell us say no, you're not supposed to put here now. You know we know you all. Not take we for granted. Now, he ain't supported it on the vex. But the truth of the matter is that all man getting your role in the country, not taking people for granted. If you stay with your line, they're not so people for saying, okay, well, now possibly a flamboyant, a different, in your way. Even when you different, even when you do so many things, you still get limitation. You get role.
Yeah.
And make advice as them. You only advise to say for begin or say for stop. Not to say about person, but Salone people hate them. But at the end of the day, plenty Salone don't begin know their rights. Plenty Salone don't tire with politicians and they trample over their rights. Plenty Salone don't tire with the points and say they take advantage of we or on a face we don't know who that we be. And then tia backlash they happen. You see, personally in a person where it gets good heart. Whether people that would debate now see whether they agree or not agree. You don't do Bakutin way plenty first lady not ever do before. Bakutin anyway, whether you like them or not. You able to tell and say yes, you don't try naya, you don't try naya. But at the same time, you say don't do something, nobody ever person ever do. Now give and take. Yeah. It was a percentage, I would say 60 and 40. 60 good and 40 side we're getting for work on. But at the end of the day, them go overseas and say come overseas and say all and for just for please the that my way in color pink because I ain't get the pause. Because we talk about all these things, so the education side, we can debate from here till tomorrow. If they can't unveil then come system here, and I not get the money, but on side depend on donation for can't white man forgive you. Who sense he make? So if they're not giving the money,
exactly.
I'll set it for go.
Exactly. Make a try and wrap up this COVID thing. I don't know. I think say IB still get some difficulty because I don't see the project through yet. Make a try for wrap this Corona thing. Make we left England aside. So England put in at the red list, right? Fine. Then at the one we put in at the red list. But aside from that, other international people in the monitor, other international people in the watch, other international people in the see, waiting at the progression, waiting at the change. Whose message you feel say we action send to the international community, worldwide, broad spectrum, where today you post this baby number, then tomorrow then put you in a one list, all of a sudden that number they drop to Zoom, nothing. How like when you talk about integrity, when you talk about putting yourself or putting your best foot forward or showing or demonstrating, waiting that action they really show.
The action is so demonstrated, because they're not believing anything what we do. Okay. No, not just talk about the white man. Me and you to not believe their number then they. Now we not even talk about the white man. But me and you too say not believe a number then they. The same reason why make the white man go into this education to win Africa, the own form of education. We go school there, but walk out to people now and say they don't want to need for take them. But we don't learn at them country, take them in our young country, we watch for taker. Now the same reason. Because they not believe say, then see how we say we get we done the right way. And truly, I'm not thinking they done the right way. Because one thing what we lost as Africans is integrity. We know they fight for that thing. We know they fight for integrity. We know they do anything with that chip now we shoulder say we want to be the best among everybody else in the world. You they get an African now, we born in Africa, they fail WAEC. They come overseas, they can't learn the own system. The next thing you know, now a doctor, now a lawyer.
Yeah.
You get plenty of this salon to a doctor, now a lawyer, now a nurses. They don't be a dropout in Africa. They come overseas, they don't actually not make and go, not get a good degree. What's happen? Why make we not ask? We say because even with education system we talk about, so now just copy cram the learn we. What you can overseas now, we don't copy and cram now. They learn you for think outside the box. For apply what you learn. Africa then you regurgitate what I mean. You go and you regurgitate the information and get them back. They're just training a best worker. They're not training for a lot of the best thinkers. Now the same way then TIB. They not say anything.
Yeah, I want to go
Yeah,
to
go
Ivy,
ahead.
make you rub more small on this topic before I close this topic and move on to the other topic. So, Ivy, what you been get for say with all this inflation of numbers, disappearance, sudden disappearance of numbers following the ban and what restrictions and whatnot?
Thank you very much. And I want to apologize to Yuna and the viewers. Just get some small glitch. As I want for talk and then the phone just shut down. First of all, I think say me na one person way I don't express a combination of feelings what I get. One positive feeling what in terms of what the government don't do so far, and then I also get a lot of negatives. But in totality, I want to say that given the situation, I go want to be on record say at the beginning of this coronavirus pet so the government of Sierra Leone are one of the most successful stories we'll get in Africa. And that one they emanates from the fact that there were structures and experienced people in the country we don't deal with situations of epidemics and so like the Ebola we been hit with country in 2013, 2014. And so the government build on that the experience and take proactive measures, to start with. So that one they count a lot of comforts to we people them, and also a lot of people then learn from now the region. But as we dey go on, we find out say starting from the authorities, the way then they talk about the coronavirus, the seriousness of the virus, not so then they behave. What do I mean by that? Now, it is say people them we get the authority for sanction people the way other people the way they obey regulations. Then people then say they obey the regulations. For example, police they go arrest somebody for not wearing mask, but the police when they enforce the arrest not even wear mask. That's not just an example. But starting from Usai, we come out as a nation for first coronavirus. The government take proactive measures, but they not take the actions seriously. What do I mean by that? Government say this coronavirus will get experience for fetam because we get people who don't fet Ebola. So therefore, we dey make sure say it not spread. But Usai government starts to undermine the fight against the coronavirus. Now the fact that the president in initial action it declare 1 year state of public health emergency in the country. That was the longest in the entire universe. 1 year. But what thing the authority we give the law we give the authority for declare state of emergency tell and say for make able for exercise the power for make it control a virus like this will not hit the country, pursuant to which he declared the state of emergency. They get for pass regulations, parliament get for pass regulations, we get for guide the people in conduct. But unfortunately, the president exercised the power for announce a state of emergency and refuse. And I want to be quoted. He refused, government refused for Kego the regulations na parliament for a very long time, almost to the tail end of the 1 year, and then go past them. So you don't go take down there as a serious attempt by government for really reduce, control, or effectively fight this coronavirus so all man afraid in the world. The good thing is the coronavirus it not hit me like I hit other countries. What do I mean by that? If you look at the current records, slightly above 6,590 cases now in Salone get. Out of that 6,590 cases where Salone gets, only about 120 people die the entire period of this coronavirus. And these are official sources where they online.
Yeah.
All right. So, what happened after a long time? People in beer, parliament shouts, nothing no happen. The government refused for the regulations, and yet purport for exercise the power for control people through decrees wey not exist under a democracy, where nobody not get the power for, including NACOVAC, for pass any regulation without sanctioning from parliament. But then continue for do am. What happen? The people accept. And see, this now for the good of everybody and for the health of people. People accept them, even though some of what people like you say will get big mouth for talk. We shouted, and other people write about them. Me write articles about the president in powers, about what NACOVAC they do, and I think they read them, but nothing happened. The time when they feel say an argument then come, people then file papers in the court, the bar association, for example, but nothing. We understand the approach of this administration. Now, for do things then when things say comfortable with them, when they put them in good light, that's all they do. We're not there for talk about what they don't do, but in terms specifically, so what they don't do with the coronavirus, there are a lot of negatives where I think say DSSF acknowledge. But we always say na a learning process, and this is a novel disease. So therefore, we dey give governments somewhat the benefits of the doubt. It is difficult when lives are involved, but that is the situation where we are. The government acted in most of the cases recklessly. As lately as just a few months ago, before, in fact, just at the outbreak of this third wave, NACOVAC comes and make public statement, say the third wave don't hit we, and in fact, now the Indian variants don't hit Salone. Where every expert, they say that the most deadly variant of the COVID-19. A day later, just a day later, the president in office issued a statement calling everybody for come on our streets and rally. Go imagine that. And without mask, and then they assemble, they all go get in a stadium. President was there, vice president was there, people of NACOVAC were there. This now just less than 24 hours after they don't say that killer variant don't enter filter. Some of we pull statements, we make public statements, we write articles about that day. That was a very reckless, a move by the administration. It's happened. People then die. Nobody not take responsibility for that. So if you sum up all of what you don't talk, and you bring and come to this last action of the British administration, we say Salone in particular, among other countries they will identify, then puts some restriction, and it shocked the administration. NACOVAC spokesperson go on television and not read a statement, but I see NACOVAC spokesperson make a public statement, say it is unfair for make the British administration treat Sierra Leone the way they treat Sierra Leone. That statement is also very unfortunate, because every government get responsibility, enforce responsibility now for protecting citizens. And I think say the other panelists mentioned just not say now because of trust. No person with the right sense no go imagine say a government go announce a deadly outbreak one day before he call a mass rally in a street without mask. Nobody no go do that one day. We're reasonable. Only we government do it. And the next day after that, when people them really come out and say no, this is unfair, this is really bad, they impose other restrictions. How do you do that? So each time they're inconvenient and they think that this is political capital, they bend the rules. And then they try for get political capital for situations where most times are not merited. And most times then they jeopardize lives and properties of citizens. Me don't say whenever government is doing something where they affect lives of people, sometimes out of desperation and a misstep, and we should not blame them for that. But when the action where government take, it deliberate and it tied to politics, we all as Sierra Leoneans get right for condemn them. And this now one situation. Say, even though they put in measures them for really try for fight and combat and reduce the spread of the COVID-19, the government, NACOVAC, and other people in authority take steps and exercise powers where undermine their own authority and therefore expose the population and expose the country to further risk, and people then die as a result. So what did the UK government do now for protect their citizens? And they not believe, as the other brother say, they not believe what's in the come out from Salone because of the actions. You know, when they shout say coronavirus there, they kill people there. The next moment, people then they dance in thousands, na pool, and nobody stopped. You know, when they say coronavirus, they kill people them. Then the next moment, government they host an event with people on mask. So these are the situation. So when the report say after this whole exercise, now only 6 people them get infected. No other person goes to and what think say no, there's something wrong there. You know, and the numbers that will come up after the announcement of NACOVAC, say the Indian variant don't enter Freetown, exponentially high. You know, it not ever happen at the country throughout the year of the state of emergency. That the highest numbers then come. And as soon as they impose the sanction from the UK and NACOVAC make that statement, we see say drastically the numbers within a week, coronavirus don't know our country. So one colleague called me one day and asked me, say, so are you guys saying that coronavirus go down on our country simply because a foreign country imposed some sanctions on una traveling to our country? Is that how you control coronavirus? Because it appears now that the sanction where the UK government imposed, now in come with the solution to coronavirus. Now we can't. The coronavirus it disappear. That is not logical. No medical expert not going to tell you say the pathogenesis. Well, which man they call pathogen the way the nature of the coronavirus,
yeah.
how they spread,
yeah.
and how they kill the people them. You not going to be able to wipe them out within 1 week. We don't spread among 200, 300 families. It is not possible. It's just not possible. But that the figures they will come out now, what we get now, 0,000 within 1 week, 1 week and a half. Somebody will really care for in country get right for question whether these are legitimate, really honest reporting. So for me, in total, I think say we get lessons there for land. We get lessons there for land from the behavior of the authorities. We get lessons there for land from the behavior of citizens. And what I say, why I say citizens? Because the citizens mostly citizens will they follow what the government they do, what the example the government they said. So if you, for example, if you're an official of NACOVAC and you they tell people them na public media say una mask up, but when you go na public as a NACOVAC non-executive, you don't wear mask. So what do you expect people them for do? So these are the situations. So people are following examples of leaders. Unfortunately for we, the situation is so bad that even when people die, not to everybody, then they test. That is the other sad thing. So I think say other countries the way they outside, then get reason for feel say the reporting where they come out from Salone, not to true reporting, and people then honestly and justifiably believe say the COVID cases are underreported, the death rate is underreported, and so therefore they get an obligation to their own nationals for controlling the spread, especially from Sierra Leone.
Indeed. Like I've been done saying, I also before in Yusuf Siam. Listen, you can't fool science when it comes to certain things. You know, can't tell me for say all of a sudden you get. We know that the established scientific fact is that 14 days, right? From the time you incubate the thing, few days or couple of weeks to the time it manifests out to the time it a cure. 14 days at least. Sometimes it goes beyond that. So the science is there. It's a proven fact. So for you can't tell me say, from 1 week, you scrap that 14 days, it becomes 73 hours. It just doesn't make sense. It's just not plausible. It's just that for me, Solomon Jamiru, you make me fumble there, it's $300 na mian. And I don't like that. Because I'm making the call and say coronavirus, now be careful, coronavirus, now go take no vaccines there, no this, no that, And immediately that happened. Trust me, I woke up that morning to my cousins calling me, Matilda, now for release. We've been don't tell you say coronavirus not the inside Salone. We've been they tell you, Mati, release. And I had no choice. I had to release. So please, next time, not play with me money like that.
Matilda, may I step in quick because something in the way we need for putting make people understand, not for we safe now, but running back home. Because we already inside and we know what we do. First of all, most of we get tested once a week, depending on how much the virus is. They tested twice a week, where the team in the high peak. We go to once a week, and then now monthly, depends on your working place. The question is, how do they even test us everyone? Because most of the jobs they test, they go to communities them. The point is how many testing centers that we get, how often they test people, and which area they test them, which kind of testing they use. So these are so many things that we got to put in place. When you go to the hospital, how many hospitals they test? Because anybody who go to the hospital before doctors see, then go for test you. Any family member we go for cancer in hospital, then go for test you. Then put then put the number in there. And then they give the statistics of how many people then test each day and to the month and how often they test them. So these are things we need for put in place for no say if actually then test when they're doing the test, now test and they're consistent with what they for do. Because again, the British man not fool. But man not fool, they don't watch with pattern about how they do things. Because now, me say me against what the president for do. But we talk say, okay, Lord, we put a ban on the mosques and churches, but we left people in the market. And secondly, the way people wear mask. But even a policeman or even an authority, no need for wear the mask. If I way to wear them. You put a mask down and you only cover your mouth, you left your nose exposed. That is not a mask. You're not wearing them. Okay, you just put pieces over your mouth because you still open to for transmit the virus. So if me now a medical person work on a street, I see 20, 30, 40 people and get mask, it only cover their mouth and nose. And also now exposed to the virus and not wear the mask, basically. So if you put all in here together, you'll see exactly why Salone those side is today. Why make we need for be worried? Say this tier only for play with them. Because the way of testing is not consistent, and we're not say no the one robust testing because maybe upline I wonder how many districts and upline they even test. Even the authorities say not to be wearing the mask, not to be wearing the mask properly. So man they wear the same mask for 3, 4, 5 days, and so someone attends the mask don't black, all on black at their face, they don't even worse. This is one of the this is don't black, all on dirty. Don't if you worse and just wear them someone wear them because of the virus and just wear them policeman all. No, not be real now. Man, someone way of protect himself. It just tell you must let policeman arrest me and not pay that balance that money day. So that just put it on my face. So until we make people realize this year they put not for just for anybody else and for yourself, for protecting your family, which the authority not they give the people like an explanation there for me to understand this and for protect yourself. Instead, they make a lesson just in a government mandate where you not put them you pay the money. So not to want a virus, me worry about for that 10,000 or 15,000 for buy cookie, we're not only for give policeman. Period. So until we make sure we make this one clear and then educate people in their local language for understanding that this anything for these are the do's and don'ts, which we know say they do better. Then tell them where they get their money, then go do one in a radio, then disappear. People criticize and can't radio for 2 days and talk the balance. So but putting in the way we really need for find different information with which people. But they say the one show the internet back, so I don't know how we for do.
Well, I mean, the thing is that when we do these things, we have to be careful, the wait man, not to all them and get for release, not to all them where we make ploy for collect, then self then wise up, they can be very coy, they can be very savvy and very strategic in their approach. My cousin called me one Saturday morning, he said, Mati, look trouble, I say, what's happening? He said, but me they drive this policeman here so can't stop me by longly. He said, "I will stop." He said, "I the brass say you don't wear mask." Now I say, "But I didn't sign me motorcar." Now I say, "Oh, you for wear mask. The law say you for wear mask." He said, "But then I turned to the policeman. I say, you where they stop me, you don't wear mask." Now the policeman say, "Wait first, wait first." Now I call him in company, say, "Hey, bring me mask." He said, "I just drive off and go." But again, this is what we are talking about, the seriousness of the authority. Are you they stop somebody wey dey inside motoka, wey e much more protected than you, say the person no wear mask, and you wey dey stop am, you no wear the mask. I know say some policeman dem from where that mask, wey dem distribute that one mask to them, na that mask thing na im dem don dey wear for months over months over and months over. Some people dem just like where our CEO just don talk am, na the same mask no more, dem no dey wash am, they know they're waiting, no hygiene and whatnot. You need for teach people and the protocols on how for use them thing so. But make we don't stretch this one so. I want make we go to the abolition of the death penalty. When you hear that, you get the impression say all sections of the death penalty have been looked at, but that is not the case. Only the first section we get for do with the death penalty. Now dande nine, that was what was looked at. That was what was debated in parliament, and that is what has been amended in the sense that it don't go now from I believe I think the removal of the death penalty to a sentence, I believe, of 30 years, if I'm not mistaken. The experts where they are so for talk, but then they don't go off a little bit. He will join us. He's back on. So I want to make we rub more on that, and it is clear that Parliament is still debating on other sections of that bill day. But the abolition of the death penalty, 30 years, what do you make of it? You're the expert in this. If even we want to talk about this, we can talk about this from the layman's perspective, but when it comes to the legal perspective, you have more clout in this. Ibrahim, I be gone.
Thank you again. I think say I therefore apologize when I go hear some small glitch at the background because I did outside. And for making able for understand what's not death penalty, you get for able for get small knowledge about crime. Because all the country that we get death penalty, now penalty like a form of punishment for some crime them, and it depends to the country you did. So country them from place to place, they impose on them for really serious offenses, serious, very, very high high crime. Like for example, now we country for treason, for armed robbery, an offense like a day, now very serious, or murder if you kill somebody. Other country them are similar punishments they get. But the death penalty, like a form of punishment where so many people them, don't come out and they argue for years. Say like a punishment where it's not good for making impose on people. Why? Because most of the time we can commit offenses, we regret them almost immediately or few minutes or very short while after that. And so therefore, proponents them of people, the abolition of the death penalty, they always argue, say, for make you kill somebody because of what he do, not so the solution to the problem. In other words, for kill somebody as a punishment, not mean say the crime don't settle, they settle. So people they don't always argue on that day. And the law it range from country to country, but also universally. So for example, Amnesty International, when are the lead campaigner then believe say death penalty it violates human rights, in particular the right to life, and for make it live freely, and also the right for make they not torture you or treat you with wickedness, what can say cruel, inhuman or degrading and treatment. And then right then they now right the way long time ago under the United Nations, Universal Declaration of Human Rights, they don't put them into a convention where most countries them, including our own country, signed up to in 1948. So the right them protect them because them believe say people them get need second chance. And not just the Universal Declaration where they adopt in 1948. Other side them that an European convention, for example, also the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, the Protocol 6 of the EU Convention on Human Rights, Protocol 13 to the American Constitution on Human Rights on the abolition of the death penalty. All of these, that in the way conventions then and agreements, the way states then don't come together, say this death penalty, we for stop them as a punishment for crime. The African Union, if we go back locally, ultimately ask member states for making them abolish the death penalty altogether, or they may remove them from the laws then. But in particular, Article 4 of the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, it urge people them, states them, for make them respect and for protect the right to life. When a right way inalienable, in other words, na right way everybody gets and nobody don't for take up now other person in hand. And also Article 5.3 of the right of welfare of the child. It also prohibits in categorically say picking them any person you consider as picking under your law as a country, for carry the death penalty, for impose the death penalty per picking. So all these arguments don't come together, and from state to state, other countries then they will don't say, okay, we need to carry death penalty again. But big country then they still get death penalty for certain crime there, including the UK and the US.
Yeah.
But this is not a bold step. This is not a bold step. Now Salone, when the Salone government say, well, we need to kill people again. As a state, this is very important for people to understand. As a country, we need to kill. What it happen? First of all, if you look at the arguments against the death penalty, the country then they don't kill boku people there. The highest country where they kill past all, according to reports of Amnesty International, not China, followed by Iran, Egypt, Iraq, Saudi Arabia. So from last year, during the coronavirus alone, 1,477 people and then sentenced to death in 54 countries around the world, just in 2020.
Including Sierra Leone. Including Sierra Leone. Because a couple of people were sentenced to death in Sierra Leone. Yeah.
Globally. This is during the coronavirus. Okay. Now, that one in a drastic fall. It fell by 36% of the numbers of 2019. Before the coronavirus, there have been 2,307 people in 2019. So at least 28,567 people now in them is sentenced just in 2020. That's a very high number. They sentenced them to death around the world. So if you look at all of these numbers, you go be alarmed. Reasonably say this is a very serious issue. And most of the time, the argument now that the death, we impose death for somebody as a penalty and you kill them, you're not able to reverse again. So that is a very valuable and convincing reason. Say, because people then they make mistakes, we are all humans. The judges them, okay, call them say that the sages that they get the brain, but they still make mistakes, they are human beings. Then the other argument that it's not a deter crime. If you kill somebody because you do something under your law, it not mean say that crime the other person not gonna do it. Say for example, people then they attempt for overthrow government. It not mean say because now they kill them, other person not go overthrow or they attempt to make overthrow government. So and the other argument now that most of the time, why people then they argue against the death penalty. Now that death penalty then they carry them out now country their way where they get really very skilled judicial system. the system they're not trustworthy. Now then they carry out the death penalty. These are the argument. And the other argument now that the death penalty, when they impose them, most times they discriminate. So for example, in particular circumstances, they go say death penalty. In other particular circumstances, they go commute the thing, turn to manslaughter, where means say they go prison term instead of. So all of them things and then a decision the way mortal man they make. Then so the last argument were also very, very applicable, especially in our own country, for the death penalty that we don't take place in our own country. Now mostly they use them as a political tool. So for example, people they argue say they kill people, them government they come and arrest somebody, a group of people say they don't try for overthrow government, and so therefore they go through trial and they execute
I
them.
think which is the case that is applied in most African and developing countries is that the death penalty is used as a political tool. Go on.
So because of all of these arguments, proponents them say the death penalty for pull and our laws there. So then they campaign. Amnesty International, then are almost all countries. Now one of the biggest organizations, international organization, and then they campaign for prisoners and the abolition of the death penalty. Now your country, the death penalty now you get few offenses the way they carry the death penalty. I mentioned just now, say murder. When you kill somebody under Salone law before now, they go kill you back because now offense under the Offenses Against the Person Act 1861, a very old law we get from England. But unfortunately, England they don't move from that law day. You know, the other crime now country where they carry death penalty, now robbery with aggravation. You know, under the Larceny Act. Larceny Act back now very, very old law 1861, where we get from England. England they don't pull Larceny Act no longer, now they get Theft Act 1925. You know. So now all that they don't change. So the other law where impose a death penalty for some offenses, and a mutiny, we not soldier man under the Armed Forces Act. If you mutiny and you get different connotations of that under the act. You know, for example, if you act as traitor, you take guns against the government, or you help somebody for can't fetch the government and the country, blah blah blah. You know, the penalty for soldier man under the Armed Forces Act, na death. Then the last now in get relationship to the politics side. They say they call them treason and related offenses under the Treason and State Offences Act 1963. So what does that mean? Now that if they charge you for treason and they convict you, say you try for overthrow a government, even though traditionally as per law required, for making able to establish that one day, it will take you a lot more. And we see that they roll out under during Palo content trial. But it didn't have a law, and people then don't die as a result of that. So therefore, lawyer now in the amendment where government don't take so amen. So now coming to the law itself. What in the law? This law try to do now for amend all the lawyers. So in other words, not a one law, the particular prohibition or the change for the removal of the death penalty in our laws, not a one law you amend, now several laws there. Because under the constitution, you know, unfortunately, we constitution say the right to life. Now a right where everybody get, nobody not get right for take an eye. It's guaranteed under chapter 3 of the constitution. Like guaranteed right. All man get that. Unfortunately, the constitution of Sierra Leone, it technically outlaw all of them all lawyer before. It technically outlaw them, make them nugatory, make them null and void.
Right.
Because they violate or then they contrary to the constitution. What does the constitution say? However, the state don't always utilize them, these old laws. If you look at again what the constitutions provide for, they say nobody not get right for kill you. You not get right, you right to life. It guaranteed, except, and this is very important for many people to understand. They say except where the law permits. So there is a clear problem here. On the one hand, The constitution say your lawful is illegal. So that means say any law where they contrary to that day is therefore null and void. That's what the constitution say. Further down, if you look at section 171, subsection 15, it tell you say any law. It say the constitution are the supreme law. Any law where they contrary to the constitution or any provision inside the constitution in null and void, they not get no effect. So automatically from the time when they adopt the 1991 constitution, in my argument, I say all of them law they be they contrary to the particular provision in under section 16, the right to life under the constitution. But
however, the same constitution gave a caveat that allowed them to do that.
Because if the law allow you to be killed under a particular law, it's still, you know, go say they don't violate the right. Where in my own opinion, that conflict they're able to resolve them up to the time where they make this unilateral and kind of bipartisan amendment to the law.
So make a holiday. So what will then happen, because the law says it is a violation? However, the same law also gives a leeway, gives a provision for a leeway. So now I assume say with this new ratification, or with this new not ratification but amendment, with this new amendment, the amendment is now these four sections or then four rules. They in par with the first section, the first part of that section of the Constitution. We're going to mean for say now there is no provisions under which the second part, that's the however if applies.
Unfortunately, this amendment not cure the defect within inside the constitution. Unfortunately, and people have to understand that. People have to understand that. So, for example, it give provisions them say if somebody kill you in the defense of improperty, the above case, you not go say he violates the right. You understand what I talk? So this is very, very important and example. So the constitution ought to have been looked into.
So just like stand your ground rule.
But they're not looking into them. They're not looking into them. It was not for me, not properly thought out, because there are serious problems when it comes to reconciling the amendment to the provisions in the constitution, especially we call them the clawback provisions of section 16 of the constitution. What that means say the constitution give one right with one hand. It give you the right with one hand, but it take them back with the other one.
Yeah.
So what in this statutes, the new act where outlaw death penalty, what he try for do? Now for take the right, for make it give you the right where you get effectively what he give the first hand what the constitution give you. Now you do now. But
yeah, not exactly. Address, that is what I was saying.
Not address the issue.
Now that make up they say the first arm, it appears as though the first arm of the Constitution is now in par with this new amendments, right? Of these four laws. However,
absolutely,
the second arm of the Constitution is still in place. So at any time, the second arm of the Constitution can come into play.
Absolutely. That's not the position. Now that's my own position, and I still wait for any lawyer for say no, I'm wrong. But that is the position. That is what I believe in, and I don't talk other fora. So I hope say somebody will go come. I intend to do a proper article on them also and publish them. But that is the position. So they have to look at that provision again. Because, for example, now you take for instance in a situation where as it is now, let's take say this right now, as of today, the state not get right for kill anybody. But what happens if children in the riot in Afrabe College and the Ministry of Defense sends soldier man in Afrabe College and the soldier man they open fire, 20 students or one student die.
Like what did happen at IPAM recently?
So what in the type of talk like that? In that situation, it is not the state. That is a flawed argument. It is not the state. It's a flawed argument because it's the state. If he sends soldier man, for example, for goes on site, he go kill. Now the state now act.
Yeah.
So it will be a
So
difficult situation.
one question though.
It will be a difficult situation. And me believe say if I be then at all, this is a good opportunity for ask for clarity, you know, on some of these legal positions. Yes, sir.
Yeah, my question I ask is, what's in the state in stand on restitution? Because we don't see plenty people die in the hands of the state, but nobody pay them family. So what's in the constitution say in terms of that, or the law of Sierra Leone say where the state kills somebody unlawfully? What's in the law say in terms of restitution? Because we must say them here, you kill somebody with this way unlawfully, where the state kill them, they get for pay, or they wrong them. So as a lawyer, what's in the average citizen your right in terms of that, or how the law protects them?
This is a brilliant question, and it come across wholly, in particular, where they address state-sponsored terror, where not official state killing. For example, where you not go through extrajudicial killing. Now they address. So what do I mean by that now? Just a simple situation. What happened at Pademba Road? Yes. Definitely, there has been no trial. And the reason why there has been no trial is simple. Now that video footage implicates members of government. Video and audio recording implicate members of government, including people who are guards, security guards of the president. That is the only reason why there has been no trial. Because this is a massive cover-up. So
because
say, for example,
it will be a trial on the state itself, right? Exactly. If they were to effect a trial, it will be a trial on the state.
So what in the this amendment don't try for do now that it try for categorize then kind incident there as not being state crimes. That's it try for do, which is very serious in my view. These are state crimes, you know, and people then get for who say people then die, people then get for investigate them, and then get for make who that get for pay. So argument don't there na a lot of forum them where people in the talk say the amendment they rush them because the president and the government they try for cover up certain thing them where they don't do so that nobody can hold person and execute them for killing somebody else, especially if he acted on the instructions of government. That is one argument where I don't see a lot of people. Me they make that argument. What the arguments where me they make now that if you commit an offense, especially if you kill somebody, you have to be held responsible for that. Whether you punish the person right now or you punish him later on is completely different. But somebody has to be punished. But what we they see now, records then the show say the people that we don't die in a Salone. The last time I watched the Awoko, for example, Awoko newspaper where they keep records of people that we don't die from April 4th to now. It's over 640 people dead. Nobody has been tried in Sierra Leone for that. Nobody has been tried for Sierra Leone in Sierra Leone for that.
And you believe all of these are political killings?
No, well, me not able to categorize them, but I don't see mass burials. I don't see videos of mass burials that Freetown, where the coroner of Freetown they make videos. Say these are people them what we see lying down dead at different places, and we're able we pick them up, we're able to identify, or person able to come for identify them. I mean, Salone a very homogeneous country. If somebody lost my family, they make report. If I don't make reports, or he says somebody died and I'll go look at check, but nobody not come for him. So these are suspect situations where the law for look at very seriously, and people have to be investigated. Meaning they make allegation against anybody or even the government. But me they say the government get responsibility. A situation where people they die in hundreds. You know, and not even in hundreds. One person dies, it should be a concern for the administration.
Yes.
But we are not, we need to see accountability in that regard. So getting back to Mr. The last question,
Thoroughly, yeah.
the criminal law in Salone, it make provision for compensation and restitution. Say, for example, if police sees something at your hand during investigation, we not get nothing to do with the crime, then get right for give back, or you get right to that property they back. Or if not somebody else in property, when sees and just because not suspect, not get right for give back. But also it make recommendation or make there is a provision in the criminal procedure where say then it compensates you. But people are not ever, and I see somebody else will don't enforce an order for compensation under the criminal law. The reason is simple. If you get a court order, the person where they enforce the court order, now the Inspector General of Police. So, for example, now if you get a court order against the Inspector General himself, you know, you go wonder say, how you go get the Inspector General for go enforce a court order against himself? So that is the difficulty that we have in our country. Me not if I go say, as far as I remember, me not the first Sierra Leone I wouldn't sue the Inspector General, don't bring and can court. Because I get court order, he refuse to go execute the court order. So I bring and can for contempt. I did that. So the reason is simple, because the law says that in no more get right to do it. So if me get court order, I go give Inspector General, I say I get this court order, I need somebody for go enforce her. Just because government and you go say, no, me, this is not politics case, so I'm not going to do it. It is not your business. You know, your own, how they do.
That's the thing. That's the neutrality and execution of service, that delineation there. 9 acts for make Sierra Leone and they make within you know the services and the respective work them.
So the first thing what they talking about, again emphasizing on the question, now that the law make provision, but people are not able to enforce them, and so therefore because they feel that inability to enforce that particular action, nobody they make attempt for even say if they can go court, Inspector General charge you, for example, wrongly, then you go court, you win the case. You understand? You don't go able for say, I they ask the court, for my court give me compensation, for make I go enforce against the Inspector General, because you as an individual are not able for do it. You need the assistance of the police, and the police not able. So people are not care about that anyway. So that particular provision, they die. You know, it died, but it's in the law.
Yeah. So, anyways, these are good things. Like I don't know if see you get other question for Mr. Omar, but this is a good thing. Like I don't promise you now, this is not going to be the only. I get for make a special section on just the death pen on the law. And they wait for make them go through the other sections then, because they don't go through the other sections. They still debate the other section. Once they don't close the other section and they come out with a full documentation of all sections, we get for Sidona Yaso and we get for talk bottom piece by piece, because it is important that people know their rights. It is important that people are are acquainted with the laws, where they govern them, where they rule them, and know waiting na their own recourse under the law, depending on the different scenarios or situations the way then they face. Go ahead.
Yeah, waiting I want just question because say sometimes they one of the bookman, they want to talk sometimes with family and key. They when I talk in legal terms or try to speak the English, and so man go find it difficult. Because I know say Mr. Komado explained in lengthy about the laws there, but some man still will grasp them because you don't understand the terminology the way they use. Because the question we're asking a very relevant question about what to abolish the death penalty in Salone. And it says something where it's very, very important, where I think the people have to listen to. They talk about some gruesome death. Like if somebody go kill somebody, gruesome someone, so nothing that person need for Kamutan for material and also for killer as a way for even because as I would say death penalty in some places now all lower than say no now when they take from the Bible say an eye for an eye, a nose for an nose, so whatever it is we then say. But as we all know, say if you look at what happened in New Zealand, Norway get one of the lowest crime because of the way they teach the people them. the way they make them jail them, because then see I'm say if you treat women like animal, then they behave like animal. If somebody break the rules, still treat her like a water man, so that you go when they come out. What you make then they say and say what you make we Africa they cram too much because we treat you boy and sister when they go jail, they treat them like animal. So when they come out and they behave the same way. But now it touch about something very, very important what we need for putting now. If you look at death penalty in Sierra Leone, you can say I mean abolition for a long time, and I'm just into the book. The only time what the implementer, like what we say, now we get for the way politics. Because if we check the death that we happen in Sierra Leone, we don't see how gruesome death they do. Happen when they keep people gruesomely. In fact, in most cases, not only a few arrests they make, so when they even arrest and they even investigate the case, depending on who they accuse. If now a politician they accuse or somebody in a power or senior policeman or military person, they don't even touch the case. They don't investigator. Somebody then they come on accuse him for some time and say, well, not get enough evidence. Then it is sir. Or sometimes they somebody in a way in a power now then will tell you say, well, then they watch the trial before my register and say we put and guilty. So now we talk about the rape case they talk about. So we not get forensic lab in a Salone, but you accuse somebody of rape. But you go to prison, it's all about circumstantial evidence. So then you know say it must be biasness. They have to be biased in them case then they. So the only time we all remember say they kill people mostly now we get for way associated with politics. Where somebody and the highest crime right now are teasing. And most of the killing and towards the camp. So I think if we say one for be a modern nation, like how we say one for be other 100 other civilized world them, I believe that we follow them because most of them will in their country don't already begin to push away from death penalty. They don't find out say some people in they rehabilitate. They don't find out say some people and they some mistake not to willful act. Now mistake the mistake it happened. Some man are just one mat, he lost in temper, he do him. So if you say the killer person, you don't. And secondly, I think say, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Kuroma. I understand if for kill somebody, it costs the state more money pass for keeping a prison for life. I don't know how true that is. Do help me help me clear that side. Because it talks say for kill somebody in the state they pay more compared to where you put them in prison for life. So I don't know if you could clarify that side for me, sir.
Well, I mean, I know about in government. I mean, so I'm not able to know how much government they spend for kill somebody. But this is what I would say. One, because in we history, the people that were government don't kill, for the most part, now people that were associated with politics.
Yes.
You know, from Albert Magai to Shaka Stevens, the people that were die, now people that were accused of treason. You know, and then from Shaka Stevens time, this is long time. The other thing will kill people then back in our country. You know, now Pakaba in time, Tijan Kaba in 1998, 28 people. You know, they face firing squad, they kill them. I say because they find them guilty, say they involved in the coup, we overthrow Tijan Kaba. Even though the economic community of West Africa Straight ECOWAS bring them back. And even though a lot of people then die as a result of that intervention, military intervention, but they still kill people, you know, because of that. And from that 10 day, from where Tijan Kaba last kill people in government, we not get a situation where government they try people and kill them again for treason. Say under an Escoma in them, people and they were on 2 occasions. There was a mutiny, and then the president intervened and said it's unnecessary. He had a meeting with the military, and then they make statement from State House, say, and they left them. And then there was another situation where involved another few officers. We go open firing, and the statement categorized and saying it was an attempted coup. But also, they left them. They not go through trial and then. So, but what did happen? What if we don't see the last 3.5 years? Now, a system where the state need to try people. But the information whether they come evidence and we done the hear and see from around news and social media. Now that's state operative, people the way they carry the emblem of the state, police, soldier, OSD. They don't involve in extrajudicial killing. Now Boku place them in the country. In some instances, civilians are involved. So in that kind of situation, it's difficult to make you dissociate the state from them. You know, so going back to my earlier point, are you saying or are you suggesting that not only after a trial the state kill person, now in no more, now in a unlawful killing? Is that what this amendment they try to say? Or when the state is involved, it's also killing by the state? Or when officials of the state are involved? So me not go able
So
to
there is
know.
a clarification that needs to be made to this amendment.
So definitively, but me thinking at the courts, because you know, then kind of amendment there, you dey sense the politics inside. There is a lot of politics. It's a good thing. I mean, let be on record. Let be on record say, I acclaim the government, the parliament for doing this and the government for pushing through. You know, because earlier during the human rights reporting, I think it was early this year or so, government made a commitment to the United Nations, say, then they abolished the death penalty. You know, I think say that through the pressure of parliament get for passed unanimously, you know, amend these laws and abolish the death penalty. This is a very good thing. It's a very good thing. But as I said just now, it is in my own view, it is not only after a trial, you know, on the basis of an allegation made by a state that you go say na state killing. In my own view, when the state is involved, when state actors are involved, when people who carry the emblem of the state are involved, it is the state that is killing. So we can forget clarity. But another important point the way one member of parliament we raised during the debate, I therefore apologize for the glitches. One important member of one parliamentarian mentioned one important question. He asked one important question. He said, is this amendment suggesting that if you are a politician and you send your thugs to go and kill the opponent, and they kill the opponent, you know, in the hope that if I win the elections, I'm going to give you a pardon? You understand? Does that address the situation? So as Sierra Leoneans, we get for think about this question. So if, for example, during the election, me na presidential candidate, me talk them go, you tell the talk them, but go kill this election of the winner. Or win the election of the whole winner, and they give a presidential pardon. What happens to those people? So the argument for the abolition against death penalty, a very good argument, but contrary argument than they. And this now one. What happens in situations where people intentionally kill other person?
So it means say some of the clause needs to be clarified, and maybe there has to be more clause that needs to be added too.
Now there is nothing unclear about the amendment. Nothing not the way unclear. It's very clear. But they left loopholes. They left loopholes. Two members of parliament, them, I think if I remember, one from the ruling government and one from the main opposition. Then your argument now during the debate now that if they say the death penalty need to go for all offenses, then there has to be a harsh penalty rather than just a term of imprisonment. What does that mean? What does that mean? It go to answering my last question. If somebody go intentionally kill somebody, you know, because you know, say they're not gonna kill me anyway, I go in a jail, you know, where SLPP then term done, NGC come, I mean, party then did it, then go give me amnesty. I go kill you, I go in jail. So in those situations, what thing will happen? Those were the two questions they were asking. So therefore, some people that they say, therefore impose a penalty of a term imprisonment without presidential pardon. So because if you make an so without presidential pardon, that it means the person get for the life imprisonment, they get for the for life.
Right.
Or
I
if
see
not
what
30 years,
yeah.
or if not 30 years, then you get for serve the 30 years. But if we just left and so open, say shall not, you're not going to execute the person because he killed person.
Then it
That
becomes
they give
free
the person
fall. Yeah.
a free fall because the album say when my brother win power, he not gonna left me in a jail. He must left me, but I will do what I want for him.
Yeah, so definitely we need for really make sure that then kind loopholes then they not there, because then it defeats the purpose. Because we all know when you look at the African setting and when you look at the history of Sierra Leone, because listen, when we are doing this thing, you also have to look at the environment, you have to look at the context, you have to look at the history of the nation. When you look at the history of the nation, like we say, execution or whatever killings, extrajudicial killing has always been done in the realms of politics. It has never been done outside of the realms of politics. There you have the few odds here and there, but when you look at the majority, the impactful numbers, it's within the realms of politics. So there has to be some stringent, some serious recourse other than this free fall. So I definitely get the concern, and me self when you don't explain this, it is very concerning to me, and I hope that they will put a clause in there that will address this particular issue. Yeah, so where you raise up, I don't know, CEO, if you get anything for add, make a move on to the next topic.
Well, what I would just add now is that we're not just go left onto the court and the politicians, but the media say get a very important role for play. The thing is that even the media itself don't become politicized. So we were there outside of the country where we know say we get the voice. That we don't tell me some put pressure on we own members of parliament and say then close down. Now take a look at them. Then say important because then say one for win election. They know say election they we say we get the mic, we go for Allah. The politician want for the empower. So we say get the job, the media then get the job. For come out now and take politics out of this and look out for the better of Sierra Leone. And also then close then they could bring Mr. Coleman and other lawyers. Then make them they read them, explain out to we. Also we know say we say for stand, we Allah. We make noise and push them and force them for them do them. Educate people at the village them, at the city them say, when I talk to a member of parliament them, make them fix this before election they come. So I think so we all get to work for plenary.
Very important. That loophole there, it's too open-ended and too dangerous given the political nature of Sierra Leone. It's too open-ended and too dangerous. It will lead to some calamities them and non-repercussion of acts if we are not careful, and that is a free fall. That is a free fall, and we cannot we cannot afford to have that in there just sitting like that, open-ended like that. It will be used for the wrong purposes, as we know. Anyways, like I said, we're not going to end an IASO today. Like I say, I intend to really go into the Constitution, have lawyer Shilon, have lawyer Koma here, and maybe some other lawyers then for really talk about the Constitution. I'm planning that because we really need to understand what's in our present Constitution. We really need to understand that, because this is what we have now. Until we have something else that we can use or we can apply, this is what we have, and this is what we need to understand, and the loopholes or the inconsistencies within it we need to understand, and this now be one of them where we they explore right now, and we'll continue to explore it. But make we move on. The Olympics. Make I open the phone lines. We're not going to stay here for too long, but still I'll go open the phone lines. People then can call in, give them contribution. Please keep it short. Keep your contribution short, precise, to the point. So the phone lines are open. The Olympics bring about quite a lot of interesting outcomes this year for Salone. First of all, it began with last week with that, gut wrenching, discovery of, labrum, not, the athletes not coming out in in their labrum kits, and the people they say this, people they say that, and whatnot. And then next thing we know, we realize say first competition Frederica Harrison, where na the 81 kilo e dey compete under, e go way it end up for be disqualified because in weight been pass the level where they compete for. E say the level where they compete for way at 81, but then way that morning day e weigh at 82. And people are saying, oh, was he not checking his weight? Now the cassava leaf or now the hamburger where don't go exposed to, you don't go exposed to fine eats, now in this, that. And then shortly after that, we see where, Maggie Barry himself can pull his own statement, saying, things beyond her control. Right now, even though she did everything she can, but however, this one is beyond her control, and therefore, she's been registered for the 100 IM and not for the 400 IM, which it's her specialty, it's her field. That's what she's been training for all these years and whatnot. And then we also know for say we get some swimmers them we don't compete worldwide, where they say Titi Dumboya I believe was one, Joshua Wise I believe is one. I don't think say they make it to the final, but definitely they made a personal record. Na the Olympics, I think say Titi Dumboya na in qualifying rounds them he made a can third, and then Joshua also progressed, and then he got eliminated and whatnot. But a lot of people and they blame the NOC, the National Olympic Committee. And then there is the question of whether Maggie qualified for the 400 IM officially, and why make the end up for putting at the 100 IM. Me personally get a lot of phone calls that we can to me where, because I've been put out a statement and I lambast the government, I don't say I know I lambast the government first and what's not. But then I had to take a step back. After me self go, I go to the National Olympic Committee website. I'll go, I watch the world athletes then time. I watch the different IMs them, who that qualify, how they qualify and whatnot. And somehow I was forced to retract my statement to say, listen, as an athlete, even before you reach there, if you don't know who say you there, you for don't know your stance. You for don't know what you qualify for. So not only you reach there now, they can't tell we say, oh, now I just discover say now the 100 I am a qualify for, even though I don't train and qualify for the 400 I am. When you go na the World Athletes page, you they see and bangba or they say yes, she made record, she made whatever, but he not qualify within the cutoff line for do the 400 I am. In them they. But under the people that will qualify for do the 400 I am na the Olympics, in them not they. Under the people that will qualify for do the 100 I am na the Olympics, it clear the university placement. In them they bangba or it is whatever. So when he released that statement there, I personally came on and said, listen, are we now going to say the World Olympic record keeping, now you want grand and foul? How comes if there was a glitch in their system, if there was a glitch in things, how come this not happen to other athletes then? How come is it you and now you this one so they happen to? How come is it that now you are the one that's been fouled? And secondly, what you coach do? Because not to the make I take the caller and come back and explain this before I give me panelists and tell make the remote span this, because there were some sentiments involved in this, and honestly, make I tell you now people, don't get into your feelings when I'm talking about this, because these are some of the issues why make we system a little bit twisted, why make we system distorted in certain areas. Okay, sometimes we make our sentiments lead us and we know they allow objectivity for guide us. We know they allow objectivity for guide we they make sentiment lead we. And I think say in this Maggie Barry issue, for many of us Sierra Leoneans, we allowed sentiments to lead us and we did not allow objectivity for prevail. Caller, waiting at your name, Bruce, you call.
Hello?
Hello, caller.
Yes, this is Lance Asako. I call from Pennsylvania.
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Sako.
First of all, I want to say hello to all the presenter and the panelists. Unadu. Hope everybody they do fine. I watched the sideway when they talk about the death penalty, the legal issues, and what not is wrong with it. And I want Mr. Kuruma, I think that not the guest or the legal analyst. First of all, I want to say thank you very much for being on the show and educating us. Thank you, sir. But again, I see where we been to go to the past governments and to the present, waiting and don't do extrajudicial killings. And this has been happening in Sierra Leone many times. And one day we can suffer, they're the youth, especially our students, because their rights to demand justice for themselves is never there. So me, they ask the panelists, why any of the parliamentarians, because we they say we're fighting corruption, and the law will have them for be the role models for uphold the law and let the other citizens then follow. Now I agree to one from the opposition and one from the sitting ruling party bring some concerns and issues where they raise legit issues, and I agree with the panelists wherein it's almost like an open-ended thing, would I this they are defeat, would I not defeat. So because of that, why any of the parliamentary members, if them believe say then come, when them people then choose them for come, why wouldn't they advocate to say, now if we have the death penalty, law we put them for the ones them we always involved in corruption, and you will find out most of it will be government officials, because they don't take away the death penalty now only as why they listen to the panelists and everybody they agree. Now the poor innocent people them they always die, they suffer. Whether it's through politics, but then they hold and kill. Whether it's through demonstration, they're the ones they're going to be firing at. And somebody raised the issue, what if a policeman kill? What if a president sending talks there? What if this? We know that nothing comes out of it. So parliament, if me being inside parliament, I go argue, say, the death penalty law we pull them from the civilian. Let's bring it to the top, wherein we go make sure say we country day in a bad economic situation. So to stop that, let's take the system of China. When you're corrupt, you face the death penalty, but only by people that are entrusted with the position of trust. That Namiom given. I don't know what you analysts could think about that, whether it's too barbaric or not.
Okay, well, when we come back, go answer that question there. Thank you very much for the call. So, as we go on, when we come back, when we break from this topic, Mr. Koma go answer that question there from the caller. But again, I want for lay certain facts then the facts then what I want for lay is that when it comes to the Olympics, there are rules. And these rules are applied everywhere in the world, regardless of which meet you they compete in, regardless of whatever. First rule is that the NOC not only they decide which athletes then they go. The NOC are giving names of the athletes then where they go. When are two separate issues, because people they confund the issue, just they blame NOC, they blame SOC, boom bam boom bam. When it comes to the kit, yes, the NOC was to be blamed squarely. That day you know they argue, but when it comes to the athletes them, where they compete now the different categories them, the NOC all they have to do is that you give them a name, they take those names, they have what they call the chef de mission. The chef de mission works with the head of the different athletics groups. So, for example, say in the case of Maggie Barry, now Maggie Barry in head, the head of the the runners them. Now in the nominate and say now Maggie Barry name now don't put down either for the 100 IM or the 200 IM or the 400 IM. Not to the NOC they do am. Then they submit that name there to the chef de mission. And then the chef de mission, they take that name there now, it can go to the International Olympic Committee and say, now then name they so we get. And now therefore then categories they so. So if you're not an athlete, you know what you compete for, you know what now you cut off period. I think say now your duty from ensure and make sure say one, that you registered na the right compete for the right competition, and that you meet the deadline, and that you know what you qualify for, because mentally this thing is challenging on the mind. Secondly, a second factor I want to establish is that yes, the IOC, the International Olympics Committee, the IOC, yes, the IOC. You get the IOC and then you get the national. Okay, so the national are the local, when are the Salone one, then you get the international. Okay, so the chef de mission when are the national, in they take their names and they can and go to the international, and then the international now they register you now for the different categories there. One thing where we know for sure is that Salone missed the deadline registration. The deadline have been June 21. Salone missed them by 3 days. That is a fact. Okay. The other thing where we know for sure is that the NOC, not to the responsible for the well-being of the athletes, then the athletes then get coaches, then get bodies then. So who side them bodies then they been there where they not take care of the athletes then? Then a question where the chef de mission need for answer, because the chef de mission na in the liaison, na in the mediator, na in the person between then different athletes group then they. Because Naina the person will stand as the NOC representative, where they represent Salone to the IOC. This man also will go way 82. Usai in nutritionist been there. Usai in psychologist been there. Usai in therapist been there. Waiting who done at the medical doctor team we travel with them. No laugh, because now all them things so nine make up a sport. Not a way you go take the sport minister and all them people there, and then they get luxurious travel packages, then they go sit down. They take picture, then they take them picture, then they go bluff them lala pintas them, and then the big full lala pintas them feel to say they too they are exposed. This is not the thing. There is a process to this thing. So some people and they say, oh, if them input Maggie na the 400 IM where it qualify for, it be for don't broke record. Which record did they broke? Make we be sincere to we say. It be for don't make him personal best. This girl is competing with some of the biggest in the world. Where in time not even they near or close to the time where the one and then they post. That one and then they post 10.3, 10.6. You they post 11.55. Make we be realistic side with it. What we need skills, we need equipment, we need people with dedication, we need for the government, regardless of whatever government it is, to pour more resources into sports na Salone, for pour more for be dedicated to other sports than a Salone, because not of football no more na the only sports na Salone. For example, I was devastated where I find out say the volleyball team, the female volleyball team, no make them na the Olympics, even though they qualified, because they are the best in Africa right now. If you don't know that day, the Sierra Leone female volleyball team, they don't win so many trophies, so many games within Africa. They are the best in Africa, but yet they fail to register them at the Olympics. You know they blame the NOC for that? No, they blame the head of the female and the sports minister. These are the people that contribute to this type of things. But if we don't know wetin are the delineation, the different roles and responsibility of the different departments and the different sections, there quick we don't run NOC. Let us know the roles and responsibility of the NOC. Let us know the roles and responsibility of UDK. Let us know the roles and responsibility of the different sports heads them and the different sports group them. So this thing don't cause a lot of, sentiment, but we cannot lead with sentiment, people. We cannot get things done with sentiment. Sometimes we need make reasoning prevail. And in most of these gaff that will happen in this Olympic, reasoning did not prevail. Reasoning did not prevail. We allow sentiment to go way ahead of we. Way ahead of we. Anyways, make a bring una kind time, make una self get talk wetin una get for talk as we dey go on and continue this. I don't think say we go cover the last topic today. It will be for another time. But let's, because this one it was big, it was all over social media, and people are saying, oh Matilda, praise the Pikin, it represents. Yes, I appreciate it. But me appreciation no mean for say it go cloud me judgment. To be objective. CEO, you go ahead. We know the hear you.
Sorry, I mute myself. I say you try to be too nice now because I'm asking the football. I can say low clear. All right. You want to tell me say you may feel say really that for go succeed. They not send them here for go succeed. Then send them for go represent. Not be clear now. They not send none of them they are go by to succeed. No. That's not the reason why they go to the Olympic. They go to the Olympic for no say send somebody. Okay. Olympic preparation starts just as the moment the Olympic finish. The National Olympic Committee in Sierra Leone for already begin to athlete them and begin to train them and set up immediately where the Olympic end up. These all things is our politics. Okay? Long say the two sides today. How many people understand? How many Sierra Leone say for if a white man I see the way we stop, nobody expects to say the white man come out.
Because they sold our passes to the Australians. That's what
the point. You see? Like I say, what we talk, now we say the truth. We say the truth today. If now meeting the president in anti-regime, they can meet to say that all they get money and travel, we don't get more past 600 athletes at that place immediately when they land inside Japan. Okay? What we can only for why? In fact, I even applaud the athlete the way they will represent we. Because I don't like you. If me I'm an athlete, I know they want for Salone. Me pick up they want for Salone. Let's say the truth. Because they're not going to develop. Then they destroy the game immediately before it starts. We got athletes in Salone right now where they're not trained there, where they go represent other country, they make up. Then better. We have fabulous where they go send and represent Salone. As soon as they go there, they're not go nowhere else. This year, they're supposed to get people when, like I say, as soon as the Olympic end, 4 years when they recruit people when they train them, they get a special team when they put for them. They don't begin until 6 months or 1 year before the Olympic. They don't begin to run that and go for people. Even the money they give the athlete, they know they give them. So you tell me, I feel sorry for the Peking because it gets so much potential. If now America may run for, I tell you something if I don't do well, way more. If I don't go way more, not to enjoy money for check all and day, you get represented that Peking gets your problem where you go on. It gets your stress. Not to your business for go send the work you want for go on. No, now somebody your job that one day. Who not get people for doing for you because all the same about 5 or 6 people over there. Because what about politics? We spend more time even if we go to football. So the reason why the president and people then they put money into football because football gets political ramifications in Sierra Leone. Because football, and not say football are the biggest sport. So when I sponsor football, you go use it for campaign tomorrow and talk say we bring football back. So now we not try to be too nice now. Yeah. From the one we know, so this they're not sending any for me to go to succeed. Then just send enough and say we send somebody for represent the country. But the problem is until we
Indeed,
not
and
enter.
you're very right because Coach Harold Chokam, where the interview and then say, are we coming home with medal? He say, Bole for Jokubo. Whose medal? What do you mean by medal? He say we not then at the standard
No, but that
for
money.
get medal. So please left for joke. We there so for make personal records them. That is it. That's what he said. And then for me, the audacity of the sports minister after this guy so then disqualify him, is he throw the guy under the bus immediately. We not be even know him, we don't know that choose him, but now the guy na hold on a flag can do. How una go somebody where all una flag can do the moment then disqualify them because una not put proper structures them in place so that he go get the necessary, encadrement, how you call them? Why they talk French now, so now.
But listen,
The necessary guidance, the necessary structure, the necessary people and tools in place for do what is supposed for go there for go do. Then una quick for tram under the bus. We get for listen to one audio just now, but make I take this call and then I want go to lawyer Ibrahim make he answer waiting that caller be asked. Caller, waiting your name and also you call from.
So Ezekiel, I call from Oregon.
Okay, go ahead, please.
All right, thank you so much for the opportunity. I want to say thank you to Una for keep we abreast with some things the way they go on and more emphasis on things and we will get almost the same concern and question. When it comes to the death penalty, last time I actually raised that same question within myself because what thing they happen in our country, it's okay for definitely lift the law for change them. However, my concern always about the system where we get in our country, where it's not effective because that system, they anytime where changes happens, the authority and power for make changes instantly without even informing the country or anything, it always leveraged by the president, So the same question we have been raised within myself, one of the panelists actually expanded on that. What thing will happen if the president way they in authority or way they try to come in authority, young people are involved in extrajudicial killing, and then all of a sudden way they come to power, the very people that way they cause that mayhem that the community will see back then they work on the street. Or better yet, then get a good job pass with the one they say we correct and good citizens. Now that's not me worry. Now that's not the worry in that country. Then a system way not stable. And any one of the way they come, where they as opposition, they talk what come we will change that day. But when they come, it no say if he want for will that same authority and power for people. So they never ever try for change anything. When you look at the three wings of government, we see the president can want for will that authority over the court. So they never ever try for find a way how to strengthen the court. Where president will get no power over the court. Where the court will be separate. Where if the court, the president involved in corruption, then they even get the authority for jailer, like how would they see South Africa. They never do them. That's not a problem for changing that. Well, the next one, we come to sports. I don't know why then they even waste the money for spending for anything. Where they know say when they look at the records, will not even come close. Rather, spend that money there for begin for nurse the sports from the beginning, from ground up, so that you will concentrate on one. Even when you come to track and see, look at the one where you see good talent and pressure that side so that they will excel and come with resources in the country. Kenya then see that small side they say, well, the marathon now they right now then they excel. So then they push you go to Kenya where they say track and field now so marathon run area, then long distance now they concentrate. Why they not go spend that money there for begin for nurse the picking there from primary, secondary, then you begin for pick out that talent and then find a way have to spend that money there for expand on it so that then go reach to the record. Then get the record. Look at the record. We person come closer to that record. They like for say go there inside the top 5. Now the 10 and they for spend money for carry and go by any event. That's what I say, Amo. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much, caller. I will take the last call for tonight. Just because that call they don't flag, I will just take the last person for tonight. I'm sorry if there are other people on the queue, but I have to close the show. We have to round up. Take the last call for tonight. Caller, waiting on you. Call for just take the last person for tonight. I'm sorry if there are other people on the queue, but I have to close the show. We have to round up.
Hello.
We're getting feedback. Okay. Hello, caller. Waiting on your name and who's you call from? Okay, we lost the call. So that's good. Lawyer, please, if you can respond to the concern or the comments where the other caller be make, say why we not use the Chinese system of death penalty.
Thank you very much. That was a very interesting one. I think the country then they, including China and Japan, where they find you guilty of corruption, the penalty now die. So but there is something fundamentally wrong with that procedure. Again, it comes back to the same thing where people they argue say, is the death penalty the best penalty for a crime? So when you say so, it go back to also start in the discussion of the death penalty. I say China and categorize them from the records of Amnesty International as the country where they kill past all countries in the world. And some of the reasons then are because of that. Japan and the others. So people obviously they will go argue, say, no, it's not right. And in Africa, we put that into context. It will be very difficult for make politicians agree. Say if you catch people from corruption, now for pass the death sentence for African politicians. That suicidal attempt, they take in a counter, in a canera. That is just the fact. Because of the reason then, the same reason they were given additional. Say people then they always use the penalty of death for political reasons. And normally, now skewed judicial system then they implement that. The argument also they say error in day and it's not retractable. If you don't pass, you don't kill her for an offense. They can find out say, oh, you don't see evidence later on for sure say that talk that man be the talk to not to intake her. Now true bear not to intake her. Look the person will take her. Look the evidence now. It's so clear. That's it now. The man on that, not able to bring and come back. That is the problem. So as I say, the argument against the death penalty, now very serious argument. Very serious argument. So I don't think say in my own view that the best argument for politicians or for corruption offenses. Because corruption offense, me don't see possible don't pay money, they accept a settlement under the Anti-Corruption Commission Act for money where you not eat. The reason is simple. In web say now for pay before the grace come. So when you take how Salone they behave, the only man, they say now they supervise a particular MDA. The money loss. The SEC not able for discover inside the money go. Then they all you they say now in the head. This money the accountant not put he not put record of them. We not able for trace them. So therefore now you for pay. If you not pay, we will charge you for an offense for this money. Then you go to UF now. UF tell you say, hey, before this gets kind of family, they are this money, but will pay. Lord sell now property. I go to my auntie, give me uncle, give me some money. My auntie give me some money. Lord pay this money before this grace come. So you find out say some under the context where put Salone man and African people in context. People, somebody they will admit to something, not to, just because you do them, you know, but because of one, the change of administration, and she say they will use me as a guinea pig for this particular experiment. What they want for do. So if I give them a chance, they go disgrace me family. So before that, before disgrace can they pay. So they admit liability, not to say it do am, but because you want cover in family, you know what in family name they and then thing they. Now some people they look at something there. So that kind of person they say kill him because of that day. They go down kill him, then later go find evidence. Say this accountant will be done run away. In fact, he get all the receipt there. Instead of not eat the money, but he get the receipt there somewhere. But it not be there. It be wrong because it be afraid. But look the receipt there. How you go bring that man back where don't kill? But if he didn't jail, he able bring and come back, he exonerate him. That's not the argument.
Exactly.
But it is
Exactly.
not
And
to say that politicians they will corrupt, they forget stricter penalty. Me believe say anybody will corrupt, no matter who that it be, regardless of his status in the society. If he corrupts, and he get for face the penalty under the law.
okay. So I hope say that they answer the caller in question. But before we close and Norman give the closing statement, we will come back to this Olympic thing because the Olympic is not over. We don't know what else will surface. So because we don't know what else will surface, make we hang on the first. But before we go, I want to play one quick audio about a former Olympian. Well, I'm not gonna say former Olympian because the person still the race, you know, and still they compete worldwide, but he been represent Salone before and decide not to represent Salone again. And some of them things always surface, you know, when you look at and the minister of sports quickly, you know, how they call them, pulling the rug underneath an athlete just because you know qualify, but get una forget for talk but una own side of the bargain waiting una fell for do. You know, the Maggie situation, the swimmers, them, you know, these people are representing this country. Some of them not because they not get option. As a matter of fact, many of them get option, but then choose for represent the green, white, and blue for make that sacrifice. They just like cut up. But if una not a give them air, if una not a give them cushion and do the right thing and walk with them, like guess what? Waiting will happen eventually. We're not gonna get athletes then we're gonna represent Salone at all, except now the football. But is football everything there is to sport? Make we play that audio, they make we listen, and then everybody go give their final closing statement.
This is not something we've been on the wait for quite a long time. So far, preparation to go very, very well. I mean, we just get a press conference and team presentation today. We don't pick up, we gears them and everything. So we left very soon for go warm weather now another town Japan before we go to the games village. So your question when you ask how I feel representing the Netherlands now and not Sierra Leone. To be honest with you, I feel great. I mean, I feel honored because this is not a big lesson for Salone for let them know say waiting they not value another man go value so far now the best decision this way I make in my life and I not get any regret. And me as Solomon, any athlete with this Salone we get opportunity for come overseas and prove in talent and the country where it come then one time I they advise them make it represent that country. They let not even bother for represent Salone because Salone are the only country where you they represent them at Olympics level and you get nothing for show at the end of it. You know they able get nothing. How many Olympians then they people that don't go Commonwealth Games and all those games we represent Salone then can't they not get anything food for eat. But we don't see games then where the government disburse funds for the athletes then over $100,000. They only give the 3 or 4 athletes $1,000 or $600. Outside the rest they go. Me don't be witness to this. And for the thing where then they say Salone invest in me and this and that, no, never. Instead, why be there Holland? I dey work, I even use my own money for buy ticket for go represent Salone. We make what come back, I lost my job. Wait till I get nothing. Instead, scholarship come for like a NOC scholarship. They take and then give picking in America. And one of the picking will then give that scholarship. Now pure Nigerian, Catherine Igona Ike, the picking tell me purely say it's not good enough for represent Nigeria or the US. Now then they make them connect and to Salone. So I'm very, very happy for the decision what I take, and why I don't come, I do my best for turn around and help the other athletes and where they down there for let them not lose hope. This now one of the reasons that we make Salone now one of the countries that we be say whenever athletes then get opportunity for go abroad, they know they ever return. I don't go places like Zambia, South Africa and all. I don't train with the athletes there. Then they only come overseas, compete, make some money and go back home. Why? Because the country they look after the athletes there. At least waiting meant for the athletes there, they make sure say 80% go to them. But Salone are the country where it be say the officials them money way now for the athletes then they hold their hand under water. In fact, if they say them forget $1,000, they know they give them more. They give them half of that, and then they expect them back, say the bobo them for come meet them back, say, hey, we gotta take this so, which is very, very, very bad. If now they don't picking, then they do the sports so they're not gonna be happy for let them picking them be treated that way. Salone, the athletes then all they not get anything for sure. Then they do athletics and everything, but in the end, you not go see anyone part they will get Okada self with the driver and whatsoever. So waiting the bubble, then they waste them, then wait, and they not go keep on saying funds no, they know funding day. Then they get money because every season or every year the International Olympic Committee they send money to each and every Olympic federation. And also, I believe that the government have to disburse funds to the various sporting committees. And well, I don't know if government they do that in Salone, but Holland, yeah, they do. With regards to the qualifying thing and all, first of all, you need to invest in the sports, invest in the athletes, and then you go get athletes that will go qualify. There are so many times I don't try for beat contact and everything for let some athletes and can join me in Holland and train, even get contact for let some go to South Africa and all, but nothing, you know even go through it, not even pass because the funds not there. Always now the only thing that they say no funding, and to be honest, no, go continue like that because it's like now one man and they do everything, the president of the federation, Mr. Karim Sise, now they single-handedly sponsor and fund everything, so it's really, really tough. Athletes and they train really hard and everything with one goal for can't oversee and defect and just run away and not go back. Now the only gain that they would then get and try for do something for the future and all. So we're not gonna be surprised if every time this they happen continuously because nothing not going on at the sport. So once again, thanks very much, Martin, and we'll stay in touch, brother. Thanks.
Well, una self don't hear with una yes. Now that make I say the Olympics is not over. We don't know what else is going to be on earth. We don't know what else get for Comona do. So yes, we get for visit the topic of the Olympics and bring closure to them for this year 2020 Tokyo Olympics. Una don't hear waiting somebody we don't go through the Salone system and finally decide say I know they run for Salone again, I they run for Netherlands now because Netherlands they take care of me, they give me waiting I need, and it don't pull that stress sleep I mean. But the talk not finish it, even again with the death penalty, like I say, we get for Phantom and explore even more when everything come to finalization, because everything not come to finalization. We get for I know say we not touch the education subject. We will come into it, and then there is even something even more pressing. And I know for say the IMF don't want we say the way how they spend. If we're not careful, we go enter debt distress very soon. Spending distress very soon. And then an important topic where we cannot let fly. We have to also talk about it. But for today, this is where we end. Make a see you say your last goodbye, your last words, and then lawyer IB self go say your last words, and we'll close the show for tonight.
I just want to say family and thank you. In terms of the Olympic, like we say, if we not get money, no go make us look like fools. That will just left on. And secondly, Olympic naturally taking people from the young age. You prepare them all the way they reach there. And when they reach there, it's not a lifelong game. Naturally, they able to do, they're able to survive for the rest of their life and gain that pride. if we not reach that point, because central government they pinch here and there, but we see reach at the branch and all man cut. We get for try for build with institution and force and make sure the institutions and then they able to do things right. We'll not go to the fight corruption only on a certain level. If you want to fight corruption, you get for go all the way, because now so they take it down, and on the world stage we get for just disgrace ourselves. And like I say, I'm not force that young man for what you do. Now in future you defend. If I'm able to advise in the same way, before you go for Salone, go for Netherlands, because if you go for Netherlands, you happen to forget even the silver. You go get a better life in Netherlands than Sierra Leone. So that no means not a patriotic Sierra Leonean. By the end of the day, you go ask yourself what the country do for me, what I do for my country. If people in authority not ready for help you out, you have to watch for it of your family. So until the authorities them going from the central government come down to the lower levels and not say people and safe their family and then they look up to them, treat them right, then will teach you right. We all love green, white, and blue. I promise you, say if they begin to treat athlete right, plenty athlete and then they're ready for ditch most big country for going for Sierra Leone and do other sports for Sierra Leone. If they will treat them right, that's the only thing they need for do. Treat them right. In terms of death penalty, I believe say we will continue for look at the issues and see also we will sound the whistle and force with representatives and from them will do what's right. But again, thank you for having me tonight, and God bless you.
Okay, Mr. Koma, your turn to say goodbye to people.
Me want to tell Una thank you particularly for hosting this discussion. I hope the listeners them don't benefit something, and we all learn some bits and pieces of the law and the other things that is around. In terms of the coronavirus, I think say it's alive and people don't get for respect the fact say coronavirus, regardless of waiting other person say it's a real and it's a deadly virus. So we have to be very careful and keep with distance, always mask up with the outside. And the new CDC directive now that even if you don't vaccinated, you go still able to transmit this variant we don't come out with they kill people. So although you might not get affected because the vaccine don't with monkey say don't inoculate you. In other words, not able to do you serious harm, but you still go able to get the virus and pass on to other person. We in not get vaccine and in go die. So we have to be very careful and clear about that information. The next year I want to talk about the death penalty and the fact say government do well or make it popularize and this much say no more the state not go kill person in a Salone. And so therefore we hope that people then go appreciate that particular endeavor where parliament and the government don't do. But we want clarity on the seriousness of death, you know, because it appears like the amendment only say we don't go kill again. You know, so then parliamentarians then get to think more seriously about what thing will happen in a situation where people then intentionally kill other people. Should we say that we're going to leave it to the politicians to decide? Because matters of amnesty and matters of pardon and then a political decision. There is no expert decision making system. Now politics. So parliamentarians them therefore make sure say the law protect citizens. No, an example go be nobody not go there will go on for loss a relative. So somebody will just rely on politics for freedom. He go kill your brother or sister or brother or papa or uncle in the hope that after a few years, he go walk around streets back in the Siam, yati wam. Now then things they encounter instability in the country. So parliamentarians therefore think very seriously about how for limit people their discretion, for take the pain for going to jail in the hope that you not go die and you get liberty, you know, and it take that there as an advantage for kill other person. When you know say that other person don't get the opportunity to go get for live again, you know, and make other decisions. So we have to take that very seriously. In terms of the Olympic decisions, I think say the decisions them whether person for partake, not for partake, now a mutually and a mutual discretion of both the committees responsible and the individual participant. Mickey always say, because I'm professional, nobody they force me for do something I don't want to do. And people then get for try for respect their profession. Not so everybody able to do what they do as an athlete. So you have to respect that. If you represent a country, the country gets obligation to you. And yourself, if the country they invest in you, you owe an obligation to the country. But it's not going to always be one way. Me doing my best, the other side is not doing its best. That's definitely a very serious issue. So both sides get for look at what they need for do and make sure they at all times, there is an understanding that everybody will do your own part. That is the only way the sport will survive. That is the only way the athletes then go do their best. And that's not the only way we'll get good results and be happy as a nation, moving forward. So in general, I would say you guys have been doing a fantastic job. Keep up the good work. VOS, wonderful program. Thank you so much for the opportunity for come on and share my own thoughts.
Thank you very much to me two guests and co-panelists to Joshua Wise, to Titi Dumbuya, to Maggie Barry, to Frederick Harrison, and whoever else is representing Sierra Leone. I say kudos to but sometimes, like I say, make with emotions them get the better out of we rationality and rationality, and make we not allow people them for subject to it to tin them where we know for say absolutely is outside of the remit of we capacity or capability as well. There is a lot of things that is wrong with Sierra Leone sports. There is a lot of things that needs to be done for bring and come to USA is supposed for day, but also the one that way they try, they need for be recognized, they need for be encouraged. Like I said, the female volleyball team, there's no reason why they should not have been at the Olympics. For crying out loud, they are the best in Africa. They are the best in Africa, the entire continent. They are the best. So why were they not there? It's not. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. But Lawyer Koma say Corona is real. Corona the kill. Make we observe all of the protocols them, for the death penalty, like I say, when everything is done in its totality, entirety, we'll come back and we'll peel at it and we'll look at what and finally put in place as, final, where we get for the live by. Like I say, IMF wants Sierra Leone of death distress. If current spending continues, that is real. We will never need for discuss that and waiting and they for be the ramification to the poor people, and because always that the poor people and the affect. The MCC finally closed their office in Salone. There's so much to discuss, and also people and they say, hey Matilda, why you bring this come up now? But listen, just know that there's a lot to discuss in the pipeline. But I tell you now, thank you. We take the time for Sidon. So receiving time, and the one then we get for take the time for Sidon and listen this program afterwards. You are all valuable to us. Your contribution is invaluable to us, because without you, there is no us. We are all in partnership together. May God bless you. Anything we defend at the world, may God give you until we meet again next time on Atata.